Hey folks, Randy, we're doing cut and trim. So I did something this year that I've never done before. I raised prices on a bunch of people. I've only ever actually raised prices on one person, but it wasn't a current customer, and it was a disaster. I mean, that whole situation was a disaster from start to finish. I raised the guy's price from $80 to $115, and honestly, I should have just not worked with him at all. But I've got a two-part video series about that, and I don't feel like getting into it, but you know, you can look at it if you want. Anyway, so this year I decided there were several customers who I wasn't happy with the amount of money I was making compared to the amount of time I was spending on their property. So I decided this year I was gonna raise their prices. So I handled it the way I handle anything that I find remotely uncomfortable, and that is I just don't make a big deal out of it. I personally find that's the easiest way to handle uncomfortable situations, is just to act like they're not a big deal. So I know a lot of guys, when they raise prices on customers, existing customers, it's like a whole ordeal. Like, they'll write a letter like, just so you know, we're increasing our prices, and here's the reason why: the cost of gas, the prices of materials and parts have gone up, and they make all these excuses for their customers for why they're raising their prices. I don't like that, because I try and put myself in the position of the customer, and I try and think about how I would respond to that. And I can tell you, like, if I got that kind of a letter from a company, my response would be like, well, that's your problem, not mine. You know, when Service Autopilot raised their prices on us, they sent a we're raising our prices and here's why. And the problem is, when you give a reason for raising your prices, you're then allowing me the opportunity to judge whether or not your reasons are valid. And, you know, in the case of Service Autopilot, they raised my price 25%. And in my opinion, they did not give me a good enough reason to justify that. So, you know, it ends up putting a bad taste in my mouth, because you raised prices on me, but I don't necessarily see I'm not seeing a benefit. I mean, I guess technically I am, but the benefits I'm seeing are work they put in while I was under the initial price. So now that you've completed that work, now you know, so it just, anyway, when you give rationale to your customers for why you're doing that, you're just opening yourself up to an argument, and I'm not interested in that. So I try and make things as simple as possible. So I raised the price on, I think, I didn't actually track it, so 15 or 20 customers, I'll say. And you know, honestly, I wanted to raise these folks, most of them, I wanted to raise their price $10. I wasn't comfortable doing that, so I only raised it $5. And the way I did it is we do renewals every year. So, you know, you email the customer the renewal, they open it up, they gotta click the link to look at it electronically, scroll down to the bottom, and accept the quote. And so and there's like writing in there, it says, like, you know, what your service day is and blah blah blah. So what I did for, like, the folks that were like $35, I was bumping them up to $40. I wrote in the price was $40, and then on top it says lawn mowing starting April 1st. It says that, or the first week of April. It says that in like really large letters. Underneath that, in the same large letters but also in italics, I wrote, please note rate increase. And that was it. That's all I did. And, you know, a couple of them have seen it and been fine with it, and have, you know, and a couple of them I haven't heard back from, although it's still pretty early. So it's not really weird one way or the other that I haven't heard from a lot of these folks. But that's how I handle raising the prices. It's just like, it's just a little line. I'm not explaining myself. Because honestly, let's just say I did explain myself and was like, you know, let's just say I gave an actual honest answer for why I was raising their price. I could say, hey, I've been charging you $35 per cut, but I'm on your property for 30 minutes. And, for a $35 per cut, I don't want to be on your property much more than 22 minutes. So I need to charge you more. Now, if I told a customer that, which I wouldn't phrase it in that way, but let's just, just roll with me. If I told a customer that, like I gave them the rationale, they would lose their minds. Because, if I say 30 minutes, I don't want to get paid $35 for 30 minutes. I want to get paid $40 for 30 minutes. Then in my and I know this isn't exactly how it works, but in my customer's mind, they're like, this guy wants to make $80 an hour to cut grass? What a jerk! They're gonna lose their minds. Because they probably, they're like, what? Like, oh my gosh. And so that's gonna put a bad taste in their mouth. So I'm not gonna give, and no matter what the rationale I used was, like rising fuel prices. Dude, prices have been up and down. Like, come on. So there's no benefit to providing a rationale for this stuff. It's just, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. And if they take it, perfect. I'll be happy. I'll be bringing positive energy into their property, and I'll be working hard and to do a good job, and I'll be happy to be there. And when happy workers make nice lawns. But if they don't go with me, well, fine. Honestly, we're gonna be slammed this year, man. Usually by this time of the year, I've only got like 15 or 20 people that have renewed, and usually I start the lawn season with about 50 customers. I'm already at 42, and lawn season doesn't start for like another 3 weeks, so we're gonna be slammed this year, which makes me all the more comfortable with raising prices, because if they're not willing to pay it, then they probably need to find somebody else anyway. So I just wanted to let you guys know, with any kind of big decision like that, and actually I think I'm going to do another video similar to this, about credit cards. It's going to be very similar to this one. But whenever there's a big decision, it's big on my end, but I don't want the customer to know that, because if they know it was a big decision for me, then they might think that they have the space to have a discussion, and I don't want them to feel like they have that space when it comes to the price. I price things exactly the same for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're in a beautiful $1 million neighborhood or if you are in a dump with a little cookie cutter lawn. I use the same pricing formula for everyone. There's no room for a discussion about it. So this is Randy with Dual Cut and Trim. I hope this video was helpful to you. That's how I handle price increases as of now. Have a good one.